Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we are going to paint this simple, loose style lily, like a stargazer lily. And the reason I want to paint this is because, well, for one, I think we can do it pretty quickly, and I'm not sure how long my voice is going to hold out. I've got a bit of a cold. And also, back, I think it was last summer, I painted this time-lapse for one of my sketchbook Sundays, and it occurred to me that I've never done a lily, and I didn't do a lily in my loose watercolor, my floral watercolor workshop course, which is all loose watercolor flowers. I'll link to that below in case you're interested in that, but I didn't do a lily for that. So I thought I would do that lily here, and that way you could, if you were curious about that, you'll know how to do it. So what I've done is taken a watercolor card, and I've just clipped it onto a piece of cardboard, piece of mat board, just to keep it flat. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by putting a line and I'm going to put this super light, so it might be difficult for you to see, but once we get the paint on there, you're going to be able to see it. I just want kind of a line. I'm going to start it probably about a quarter of the way down the paper and just kind of bring it down, kind of like that. I'm going to put on a couple of I would say, what do you call that, like kind of stretched diamond shape buds that haven't opened yet. And then I'm going to put a oval to represent the lily that's open over here. So 1, 2, 3, we got 3 things. You see that all right? So that will kind of give us 3 things, make it very nice to look at. And I'm just going to make this kind of like a semicircle in the center, so it kind of looks like I have a donut. A donut. We're going to draw a donut here, and it's not a complicated lily, it's an easy donut. And we're going to put a petal here. It's kind of a tip curving over. We're going to put another one next to it. It's kind of wrapping around behind it. It's very full. Petals here. We're going to put one up here. Now generally there's 6, but we're only going to see 2 more because we're going to have room for our stems. Stamens rather, to come down. So we're just going to fit a couple in like that. Let's make this one come on a little bit more. And now I'm going to go in and I'm actually going to, I also want to put the end here, the trumpet part, so that I can go in and meet up with a stem. And now I'm going to go in with just a white vinyl eraser, and I'm going to erase any lines I don't need. Now you can usually erase these after the fact, but just make sure your paper is really dry if you do that. I often will just leave them in, quite frankly, because I think it's kind of fun to see those sketchy beginner lines, but you don't have to. So it's just easier to do it now and then be done when you're done painting. I'm not going to sketch in the leaves, but I'll have a few leaves in there. I think this is all I really need to have my basis down. Now, you don't have to sketch. You can go right in and paint, and that is fine. I know that some people just aren't comfortable with that. I'm using my Renaissance colors. Now I have this set of 24 half pans plus some colors that I put in the center. So I'll be adding magenta and gamboge to the colors that come in the 24 set. If you go to a little creative Etsy shop, that's where I got these. She actually put a listing that's the extra colors I added to my half pan set if you wanted to have the exact palette that I have here. And this is a really comprehensive palette. It's really nice. So I've got some, this is either cinnabar green deep or sap green. I've got some, I think this is a burnt sienna, just a warm brown. And I'm going to kind of mix those together loosely. I don't want them thoroughly mixed. I want there to be both colors on my brush, and I'm using a number 10 rounded. This does happen to be a Renaissance brush, but any big round brush with a nice point on it, or if you don't have a big brush with a nice point, use a small brush and a big brush. That way you can get all the shapes. I like to have a brush with a nice point because I can press down more and get a thicker line, or I can go up on the tip and get a thinner line. I made that stem a little thicker than I wanted it, honestly. So keep that in mind. I'll pull up the stem connecting the buds to the main stalk. And then while I'm at it, it's more of the green, and I'm just going to play around with some leaves. I will list the colors that I used in the video description. So for the leaf, what I'm doing is up on the tip, I'm pulling it off of the stem, and then I'm pressing and lifting. I didn't have a very good. And you can go in and fill them back in. I like to leave little bits of white poking through as well. Let's do some up here. I'm going to load up my brush really well. I can actually get some gamboge out here at this point too. And I'm going to start on the tip. Bring up a really fine line, then press, and then lift. And now if I feel like I want a little bit shadow on one side, I'll go in with a green. I'll just trace that one edge and let the colors kind of float. If I want some darker color, I know I'm going to use some cobalt blue here, so I can go ahead and I can add that onto my mixing area. You can use ultramarine, cobalt. Oops, that's, my brush was pretty dirty there. That's alright because I'm using it for shadow, so I'm not going to get rid of it. That's fine. See, I can go in and I can trace the edge and get a little bit of shadow in. This is a inexpensive paper. This is just the Strathmore watercolor greeting card. It is a cellulose paper, so it's not going to have the absorbency of cotton paper, so I will get little blossoms and blooms, and that's alright when I'm doing kind of like a looser style like this. I think anyway, I like it. And if I want to splatter any of these colors on at this point, I can. Yellow's a nice one to splash on. Gives me a nice freshness. I'm going to now grab a little magenta, and I'm going to add a little of that into the buds. And I can add a little bit of that really watered down magenta into the trumpet of the flower here. Now I'm going to pick up a little bit of yellow right on my brush that has some magenta on it. And I can bring that into the bud. Gives me like a little bit of a peachy color. I'm staying really loose. I want that freshness to my work. And I'm thinking I may, on this one, I think I want to get some of that peachy color into my lily as well. I think I maybe want this lily a little bit, with a little bit more yellow in it. The other one didn't have any yellow in it. I think, other than the center, I think that'd be really pretty. Okay, and I could do a little bit of that yellow into the trumpet as well. Okay, now I'm going to grab some magenta, a little bit thicker. My brush is a little bit drier. And now this is a synthetic Taklon brush, so it's not going to be as absorbent. So if you're using a brush like a Princeton Neptune, or you're using a natural hairbrush, you are going to find that you don't need to reload quite as often, and that's kind of a benefit. But I do kind of like these crisp details. I'm trying to leave a little sliver of white in the center of that petal, just to give it a little bit of a center vein. Now I can wipe my brush off of my rag here, and I can lift out if I get a little bit too much paint. Because I want that yellow to kind of show through. I can add a little bit more back in. Now the key in not getting blooms where you don't want them is to just make sure that your area doesn't have any puddles in it. You maintain an equal, like I'm going to get a bloom there because that's already started to dry and I've got a wet puddle there. That's fine. I don't mind this background stuff being kind of loose and bloomy, but I want the focal flower to be kind of crisp. Can grab some more magenta there. And I'm going to do this one over here. So if I've got two petals next to each other, I'm just going to make sure I leave a gap. I could do this one here, just going to leave a little bit of a sliver. Now that yellow dried up already on me, so what I can do is I can rinse my brush a little bit, blot it off, and I can just kind of brush over that yellow area and merge those colors together a bit. So I end up evening out the tension, or evening out the surface tension of the paper with the water, and it gives me that nice look. And I gotta go in for this flower here. I like the fact that my paper is drying quick actually for this, because it works out in my favor. Okay, that one feels a little too dark. I'm just going to lift out a little bit of color. Okay, and get this one last little petal back here to finish. I can just pull in some of that color from that yellow splash. And then we can imagine there's another one beyond, behind those stamens. Now I still want a little bit of shadow on the lily, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some cobalt blue, because that's a blue I've been using, some magenta. I'm going to make kind of a plum. See how it's kind of like a plum purple color? And I am going to add this, and this isn't a very wet mix, so it shouldn't give me too much in the way of blooms. It should just give me a soft edge where I put it. And I'm going to go in and just kind of define some veins and edges and just kind of get some movement here. Gosh, I hope my voice isn't annoying. I know it's any more annoying than usual, I should say. It's so scratchy. I can use that color for spots on the petals later too. Just want to be careful I don't get it mixing too much with the yellow, because that will give me mud. I don't want the mud. And I can throw a little bit in here just to accent that. Okay. And now I'm going to grab that gamboge, and I wiped my brush off so I didn't get too much water in there. Need just enough to make it flow. And I am going to just pull out the center stamens. If a little bit of color from the flower gets in there, that's not a big deal. And if I want to add this anywhere else, I can. It's a little strong, actually. Gamboge is such a nice, strong, cheerful color. And now I am going to, let's see, I think I'll go into the green right now, let that kind of sit up for a bit. So this is just that. You could use sap green, cinnabar green deep, whatever you happen to have. And I'm going to go in and add the kind of the ribs on this, on these buds. You really don't see the bright color of them yet, but you can kind of see the hints of them through the green sheath. And I'm going to do the same here on the trumpet part, because it's like the outside of the lily. It's much more muted. And if I want to do any other details or add anything else to the leaves, I can do that now. I can add even more leaves in if I want. I would just keep them muted. Just mute it by putting more water, maybe a little bit of blue, tone it down. And you can throw in as many as you want. They don't even have to really be connected to anything. They could be from another flower altogether, depending on just how much you want to fill it up. You know, it could be part of a bigger arrangement. I'm actually going to spread that out. That seems just too dark. So you're painting, you can do whatever you like. Isn't that great? It's a great thing about art. You do it the way you want to do it. Okay, so now I need some brown for the ends of my flower. I'm going to start off with this brown here that we already used. And I'm going to add some other colors to it that I have on my palette already. I might need to grab a little bit more blue. So it's like brown, blue, and magenta. I like that cobalt a lot, I can tell, because I have really made a dent in it. And I'm just going to throw in very loose splashes and then leave it, because that you want that energy. You want that energy in your picture. Now I'm going to, I think I'll just take that same color, maybe add a little bit more blue, a little bit more magenta, and use that for the specks. Make sure it's dry. Yep, dried quick. Add my specks on my lily. So if you did this in orange, you could do a tiger lily. If you don't want the specks, you don't have to do it. Not all the lilies have the specks. You could use, you know, almost any color you want. You'll see these in many different colors. Sometimes they have skinnier leaves, sometimes they have fuller leaves. Just make it however you want to make it. I feel like I want a little bit of shadow in some of these centers. I don't know if it's, hopefully it's dry enough. Okay, and really that's all there is to it. I think I might just kind of define that center stalk a little bit and thin it out because I got a little carried away. And maybe add a few more splashes, but that's up to you. You don't have to put any splashes on if you don't want to. Gotta clean out that blue. Got that blue pretty dirty. Big brushes hold more paint, so sometimes you need to wash those more frequently than other brushes because they just, you know, they can just retain so much more paint. And any of the colors you've already used are fair game to splash. And if a splash feels too strong, what you can do is spritz it. You can also do that if you just feel like you want to soften your background. That's another technique we do in the loose watercolor floral class, in the lilac lesson. It's really fun. But I kind of like that. I think that I had gotten a little too carried away with too many leaves, so that just, that helps out a little bit. But again, your picture, you do what you want to do. And then if you splash it and you decide that you want to refine it a little bit more, you can do that as well because it's your painting. So that's the thing to remember, that when you're painting, you call the shots. So again, I'm going to show you the card with less splashes that I did before I came on here to make sure that I could do it in a reasonable amount of time. And I hope you liked it. It was a lot of fun for me to paint, and I hope you give it a try. Please give me a thumbs up before you go, and I will have a link to my watercolor floral workshop in case you are interested in learning more. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.